hot topic inside of violations is, what is the right way to enforce them?
I'll start on the enforcement piece. I think at the end of the day, many certain board members or residents or committee members, because you should have a committee in place, is, again, I go back to the whole neighbor concept. At the end of the day, these individuals are your neighbors. So if you haven't done it in a while, let's just start sending communication. Let's let them know what's to come. These are the common violations that we're seeing. This is what we want to give everyone a 30-day window to at least, let's say, simple things like pressure washing and so forth to get it done. Roofs take a little bit more time. But the process should be just notifying the resident. Just a first notice should be just, this is you're in violation of this. Ideally, you have a platform that shows a picture so that they know what they're in violation. Obviously, if the roof is broken, that's an easy violation. They know what it is. But if it's the wall needs to be painted, like letting them know what needs to be painted. Some documents are very precise on the notices and how they need to happen. Many are not. So you should have a process at least documented of what you're going to do, the steps you're going to follow before you take it into any potential fining. At Affinity, we try not to fine. If we have to fine, we have to fine because we have to follow it. But our goal is really just to get individuals to take corrective action. You're always going to get that one or two that don't, but there is a bit of a
and
process.
Those are the ones that I'm interested on, because then what happens, like the people who comply, it's fine. Yeah. But what happens with those people who are just so difficult?
Yeah, so, it can get a little bit technical, and I'll let Eric jump in here now, but, the documents, again, it depends for HOAs and condos. What we're talking today is HOAs. You have to read your documents. HOAs don't have a strictly outlined process, step 1, 2, and 3. You have to read your documents, get that process outlined by the attorney so the managing company can follow that process. But if you've gone already to a point where you have a committee and you can actually fine, it's to fine. If you have a person that's like that, most of the times they don't care about the fine because the fine is maximum $1,000, $100 a day. Yeah. In my experience, if you're going there, most likely that person is going to the attorney's office. Like, you're going to move them into the attorney. And then I'll let Eric jump in now.
Yeah, well, if someone has something dangerous on a property, you can always go to court and have them remove that. You can always, something is an emergency. You don't have to start out immediately with the fining process. You can,
like, for example?
Yeah.
Chisme time.
They have something that attracts children that's dangerous. They have a pool with no water and a broken fence where kids can sneak in, right? We've had that type of a situation before. Well, kids can die jumping in that pool. So you can go to court, get an emergency order against them, right? Something like that. But that's an extreme situation. Most of the time, if someone doesn't comply with a rule, you can go through the fining process. But everybody gets confused on the fining process. You have to have a committee, like you were saying, made up of at least 3 people who aren't board members. And it starts off at the board of directors level. Right. The board says, okay, let's say unit 102 has been parking in guest parking for 7 days. So somebody on the board makes a motion to say, I say we fine unit 102 $700, $100 a day for the 7 days that they parked in guest parking. All in favor say aye, aye. So the board votes for it. Is it over? No. Now it goes in front of a fining committee. And the fining committee hears the story all over again, and they get to decide whether to keep the $700 in place or bring it down to 0. There's one or the other. And under the new law, it gets very strange. Do they have it seems like if the violation was corrected before it gets to the fining committee, the fining committee has no jurisdiction anymore.
That's
right.
Right.
Very
that's
weird.
Right.
So
and you have to provide notice. I don't remember the exact item. You have to provide
14
notice.
days. 14-day notice.
If you don't provide it, then you're in a situation. So even though we've always provided notice after a hearing because you want to notify, but now now it's become a little bit more complex.
It's weird because the argument is, can they keep parking in guest parking, keep committing a violation, and as long as they do it before the fining committee, can you never fine them? It's weird.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes. Like, for instance, a garbage can was a common one. Like, we have one particular community, very high-end community, and I get the board's position, which is if your trash can's there for 24 hours over, you're getting fined. Like, there's no way around it. So now that's gone.